Welcome along to Donington Park for Event 3, rounds 5 and 6 of the Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship for 2012. And pole position today going to Jason Cooper. It's Cooper man on pole position. Aaron Trigwell alongside, John Langridge and Andrew Foley on row 2. Nick Bowers and the returning Matt Foley on the outside of row 3. Then it's the veteran David Abbott, James Appleby next to him from Kevin Sterling, Sean Clay 10th, Nick Pope 11th and Sagir Hussain in 12th. Next is Graham Field and Jody Bocott, Paul Clackett and Joanne Eason. Then Ronaldus Tabressa and Dawn Boyd wrapping up the Class C's. On to David Elson, Class A pole from Ken Bateman, Nick Tiley and Ian Scruton. Michelle Edwards 23rd, Chris Tomazis 24th, ahead of Nick Barton, then Terry Scruton, and rounding off the grid, it's Keith Chapman. So the first time we've had all three classes racing together this year, and makes a very spectacular field. I hope we get a chance to have a look at all three classes, but of course the focus will inevitably perhaps fall at the start on the front runners. Jason Cooper in pole position, Aaron Trigwell alongside. Cooper unbeaten so far this year, 4 wins out of 4 races. Grid just being cleared at the back. Once we get the OK, the 5-second board will be shown and we'll be ready to race. So we're getting ready. Cooper has done it all before, of course, from pole position. Aaron Trigwell looking for his first win. Lights out, great start. Trigwell gets away very well from the outside of the front row, and it looks like he's got his nose in front as they come down to red gate for the first time. Very good start for Trigwell. He is in front and sweeps around in lead position. Andrew Foley in third, Jason Cooper second. Let's have a quick check and make sure they all make it around red gate. I'm not sure who, I think that might be Ronaldus Tabressa who's gone wide. We'll check that out when they come round at the end of the first lap. And a great start by Aaron Trigwell. Where's Jason Cooper? He's back in 5th position because up into 2nd has gone Andrew Foley. It's Matt Foley in 3rd place, then John Langridge 4th. There's Sean Clay busy chasing Nick Bowers, and then down behind them James Appleby, the Yorkshire Bank sponsored car. So out of Trant's Curve and up to McLean's for the first time. This looks like it's all beginning to settle down. Well, Kevin Sterling in the mix, good to see him running well. Paul Clackett in the number 8 car, the ex-MG front runner. There's the Foleys having the best of the scrapper out of 2nd position at the moment. So down the Dunlop straight, and Aaron Trigwell looking very useful at the moment. Car number 94, the 18-year-old from Braintree. A lot of young drivers in the championship now. Ex-Carter, done some circuit racing, some saloon car racing with the 750 Motor Club, raced in Formula V in 2011, and now coming the saloon car route as we look at the battle between Sagir Hussain and Graham Field. Now Sagir qualifying in 12th position. Graham Field, put my grid to one side, let's grab my grid back. Graham Field qualifying in 13th position and getting the better of him there. Let's see whether Sagir can get him back on the cutback. Through the gears we go, and there he goes. He's got the position back, so back up into 12th position. Sagir Hussain gets the better of Graham Field. He's going to get him as they come into Goddard's, repasses him. What a great bit of racing from those two. But up across the line, Aaron Trigwell leads. Jason Cooper is still in 5th position. John Langridge challenging for 4th place on the outside. Now we've got Matt Foley ahead of Andrew Foley, so Andrew Foley down to 3rd, then it's John Langridge, Jason Cooper on the inside line as they come down through the curves, still side by side. Langridge is going to maybe lead on him to grab the inside here. The perhaps decisive part's going to be into the old hairpin, and Cooper just neatly places the car in the right place, grabs 4th position, deposes the number 7 car, the reigning Class A champion, John Langridge, who's still learning his craft in Class C. He's been front running for most of the season. The worst result so far for Langridge. In the last race we had at Snetterton, 8th place, but other than that a 6th position in the first race of the year at Silverstone, backed up by a brace of 2nd position, so he won't be too unhappy, I don't think, with his performances so far. But this is the benchmark man this year, Jason Cooper, and we go on board with him. The Foleys ahead, first race of the year for Matt Foley. Andrew Foley, the blue car with the yellow writing on, if you can see it on the side. We can't from this angle, but Cooper trying to get past them and getting very close as they come into the chicane. Very close indeed. He's going to try and tee up Andrew Foley and look down the inside. Surely he's going to squeeze through into third position. Downhill now into the hairpin. He's up into third. He's going to try and take second. Andrew Foley throws the car in to the hairpin, car number 82. Andrew Foley, far from being race rusty, hangs on to second place. All this is a little bit of a gift, isn't it, for the man out front, Aaron Trigwell, who can watch the squabbling in his mirrors and think, yeah, I'll have some of that. I'll have clear laps. I won't be driving on the mirrors. I'll just be looking ahead. Now, John Langridge coming up on the outside. David Abbott's in the mix as well. Nick Bowers in green at the back of this pack. Up across the line they go again. So Trigwell very much clear at the moment from Andrew Foley, but Jason Cooper's coming up and looks at the outside line, but the 82 car hangs on to position going into Redgate. Matt Foley in second, Andrew Foley in fourth at the moment, trying to challenge Jason Cooper. Then at the third of the blue cars with slightly the more yellow on it is John Langridge, but here we come, and Foley, the inside line for Jason Cooper, turns in neatly and he's through. Jason Cooper is through as they go into the old hairpin under Starkey's Bridge and makes it into second position. Whether he can hang on to it or not, of course, is another matter, because he's got two very keen Foleys, a Langridge and an Abbott, not to mention a Bowers behind him as well as he comes up into McLean's corner again. Short run down towards Coppice. Foley has a look down the inside. Is he going to be able to make this one stick? I think he's going to try and get the position back here very neatly over the curbs. Back into second position. Jason Cooper down to third. Andrew Foley down behind him. Then John Langridge. David Abbott up with him. Great to see the veteran. David Abbott in his 60s. I'm sure he won't mind me telling you that. When you bear in mind that the race leader is just 18 years of age, it gives you a great idea of how this championship attracts drivers of all abilities, all ages as well. Really good age field. I can't think of another championship which has got such a spread of ages and experience. And David Abbott can still cut the mustard in this championship. There he is in the silver car, just turning in now. Nick Bowers, I think, has managed to get past him. Nick Pope goes through, and Graham Field, Sagir Hussain and company still dicing it out a little bit further down the grid. But it's still Matthew Foley in second position. And Andrew Foley in third at the moment, but Jason Cooper barges his way down the inside. This is really absolutely very much like touring car racing, but these ones are staying on at the moment. This is superb stuff. So Foley on the inside, Jason Cooper on the outside, unused to being down battling for third position in the race. John Langridge is going to come up and try and go down the inside line. Langridge coming through, Cooper back on circuit, collected that up pretty well. So Andrew Foley hangs on to third place. Jason Cooper just about in fourth. No, it's Langridge fourth now. Jason Cooper fifth. Nick Bowers in sixth position. David Abbott in seventh place. And then a little bit of a gap back after David Abbott. I think it's Sean Clay in eighth place at the moment. So under Starkey's Bridge they go again. Nick Bowers, of course, had a second position in the opening round of the season. Fourth position in race number 2. So he's used to being up at the sharp end of things this year. John Langridge with Andrew Foley in front of him. What's he going to do? Is he going to make a move as they head up around Coppice Corner once again, down the Dunlop straight? Aaron Trigwell well away with this one. So Trigwell well in the distance, not getting any TV coverage, but I'm sure he'd be quite happy to trade a little bit of TV coverage for such a great lead. Through they go, Jason Cooper in car number 35. Let's take a moment to ride on board with him and see what the championship leader can give us in terms of attack. You can see at the moment, nothing doing. Is he going to be able to do anything under braking? Gets very, very close indeed. Now the run slightly uphill out of the first part, or the end of the loop, past the hospitality suites there. And he's going to make a go for it, down the inside of John Langridge, and bang! Into car number 83, Andrew Foley. Well, I said this was like touring car racing. And I wonder if Jason Plato's been tutoring him. Oh dear, in come the lawsuits. But let's have a look at this. He tries to go down the inside, makes it clear through John Langridge. Now, to be fair, Andrew Foley will not have seen him because he was 2 cars back. So I'm sure absolutely nothing malicious there. But Cooper wanted to get back up on as far up the order as he could, but it didn't quite work for him. Not sure how much damage has been done. Let's look at the positions. So Cooper back behind Nick Bowers. There is Matt Foley John Langridge in third place, Nick Bowers fourth, then Jason Cooper, followed by David Abbott having a good run in the Daniels Motorsport prepared car. Closed things up a bit actually behind them. Still Aaron Trigwell away in front and leading this one pretty much as he wants to, but Jason Cooper with an awful lot of work to do now. Andrew Foley recovered well out of that as well, because Andrew Foley down behind David Abbott at the moment in the 83 car, so that could have been a lot worse. Both cars sporting a little bit of damage, so a little bit the worse for wear, but I'm wondering whether the performance of Jason Cooper's car has been upset enough for him to not make any more progress. It's Nick Bowers in front of him. Well, we'll just have to see. So Cooper, there is John Langridge in third position, chasing Andrew Foley. Matthew Foley, beg your pardon, in second position. Down the Dunlop straight, used to be known as the Exhibition straight, downhill and then into the chicane. First part of the chicane left and then right onto the Melbourne Loop, which is where they are now. Jason Cooper trying to tee up Nick Bowers. He's going to have a look at the inside line here. Got a slightly better run out of the chicane. He's got the inside line. Nick Bowers will probably know he's there, and Nick will have seen that move earlier on in front of him. Is he going to be mindful of that? Leaves the door open, does Nick Bowers?
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter King.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
So here they come up into Goddard's, the last corner on the lap. Still John Langridge fighting for second position. Nick Bowers hasn't lost too much ground at the moment on Jason Cooper. There is Aaron Trigwell, race leader, coming down to the bottom of your shot. Good healthy lead for him in this 20-minute race. Time for us just to take a little bit of a breather. So Nick Bowers is having a go back, I think, at Jason Cooper, as we look at Matt Foley still there in second position. John Langridge in third. Langridge looking to try and get his third podium of the year. Matt Foley, of course, first race of the year. Andrew Foley joined the championship at Snetterton. And Langridge coming up here, battling for second position, looks down the inside line. Can't quite do it, but had a good go as they went into the old hairpin. Jason Cooper beginning to close in. There's Aaron Trigwell going through. Jason Cooper just 23 years of age, so as we said, a lot of young drivers in this championship. John Langridge 27 years of age from Sussex, a good geographic spread as well. A lot of championships you tend to find that drivers come from one area or another, but this one goes up and down the country and the drivers travel from all over the country to come and race here. Through goes Nick Pope in car number 18, another 28-year-old. Joined the Fiestas in 2006. That was the blue and orange car that we saw go through shot. And Nick clearly enjoying his racing at the moment, but Aaron Trigwell is going to be, I think, heading for a potential win here as we go back. Dawn Boyd engaged in action with Ronaldus de Bresser. Ronaldus in the black car, and then Dawn in red. Graham Field about to try and take the inside line from Dawn Boyd as they come down into the chicane. The first part's going to be the outside line for him. Dawn's done a fair bit of racing, and she's been involved in a race there as well. Graham Field, look at that, cool as a cucumber. A little bit of body contact between the two. He's okay, let's just crack on with it and try and close down on Ronaldus in front. And he's going to have a look into the car. See, look at that, he hits the curb. That really unsettles the car. And through goes Joanne Eason, and that's David Elsom. David Elsom's gone through as well, the lead Class A car. David Elsom, two times winner this year, looking for his third win. It was Torsten Skeen who took the win at Snetterton. David Elsom, you just saw him there in car number 40, mixing it with some of the big boys here for sure. but he's really enjoying the experience. Meanwhile, there's Nick Bowers, hasn't been lost by Jason Cooper. What you can see is the white and blue car of Cooper has caught the yellow and blue car of John Langridge in third place. So Cooper is now challenging for a podium position on his recovery drive after biting the back end of Andrew Foley's car. Matt Foley in second position at the moment. Langridge challenging him, and here comes Jason Cooper. Surely the door is open as they head up towards McLean's through on the inside. Oh, very, very neatly done by Jason Cooper. You've got to say that was because Langridge was trying to have a nibble at Matt Foley for second position, but Nick Bowers in the mix as well. Then we look back, David Abbott still there, and Matt Foley holds on to second position. Jason Cooper now in third. Fourth place John Langridge. Fifth position Nick Bowers in the green 51. Then David Abbott rounding off the top six, and he's the top veteran as well, because we've got the Veterans Championship to consider again as well. Veterans Cup for drivers aged 42 or over. Start of the year, David Abbott, Graham Field, Paul Clackett, Kevin Sterling and Ronaldo Stabressa all racing in the Veterans category. So nice for the more mature drivers to have their own pot to race for if they can't be engaged in the cut and thrust at the front. But having said that, David Abbott in car number 3 very much is involved in racing at the front as Aaron Trigwell goes across the line, still extending his lead from Matt Foley in second position. Jason Cooper in third. Fourth place John Langridge. Langridge fourth position. Fifth place Nick Bowers. Sixth position is David Abbott. Then we go back, it's I think Sean Clay in 96 who goes through, Nick Pope, and then James Appleby. James up in the top 10, so a bit of good consistent run for James. 12th and 10th in the first event of the year, 12th and 11th last time out. Potential top 10 for him here, so good progress being made for the Yorkshire-based youngsters. We look at Nick Bowers losing a little bit of ground now on John Langridge, who's trying to tack himself on the rear end of Jason Cooper, and that's just not working at the moment. Cooper closing in on the second place car of Matt Foley, car number 82. Foley in second position. Fastest man on track is the third place man Jason Cooper, 1 minute 52.865 seconds. The best lap for Aaron Trigwell, 1 minute 53.8. So Trigwell, to be fair, can afford to take his foot off the gas a little bit. He's got such a decent lead. Even if this gets sorted out in favour of Jason Cooper, you get the feeling that Matt Foley's going to keep the battle going. We saw some great battles between the pair last year. That's where Cooper had a win last year, of course. What's he going to do? Taking the wide line here. This will be... Is he looking for the outside line or momentum? I think this is probably racing line and momentum that Jason Cooper's looking at. So climbing out of the hairpin on the Melbourne Loop towards Goddard's, last corner on the lap. And it's Foley still hanging on to that second position. Brake lights on. This is where we saw the Cooper lunge earlier on. No need this time, because Foley makes a mistake going into Goddard's. Foley makes a mistake and Jason Cooper is up into second position. Now, did Foley hang on to third position though? Yes, he did. So Foley's still in third place. John Langridge in fourth. And we didn't need the Cooper man lunge there for sure. So Jason Cooper into second position. Who's going to take that away from him now? Foley very clearly under pressure. I'm wondering if that was the classic sort of mistake that happens when you're driving on the mirrors. Into Goddard's, he made the mistake. So Jason Cooper was down in fifth position at one stage, and it looked like it was all going away for him. You remember we said at Snetterton, the race kind of opened up for him there, and sometimes you just need a little bit of luck to go with the tremendous skill that these drivers have to maintain points at the top of the table, and that's exactly what's been happening to Jason Cooper. 4 wins so far this year, and it looks like he's only going to drop a couple of points if he can stay in second place, if the luck stays with him, if we don't put the curse of the commentator on him. John Langridge still there in third position. Beg your pardon, it's Matt Foley, isn't it, in third place, with John Langridge in fourth position. Go back down to Shakir Hussain and Graham Field still hard at it. Dawn Boyd on the outside line in 42. The Danoff vodka-based car giving us some great refreshment in the evenings, I've got to say, for those of us that aren't driving. And he has a look down the inside of Graham Field. Those two guys carry on with some superb racing. Quick look back down the order at the Class B and C boys, of course, very much hard at it. or A and Bs I should say. Car number 55 is Ken Bateman. He's leading his class at the moment. This is the dice for the Class B honours with Nick Barton, who has been unbeaten so far. Nick Barton in Class B, and Ken Bateman, if he can hang on to that, it's going to be his first win of the year. It's going to be the third win of the year for David Elson, but as you can see from the graphic, we're on to the last lap. It's been a pretty frenetic race, and Jason Cooper got into second place, but Aaron Trigwell, here he is. This is going to be, if he can hang on, his first win in the Formula. The 18-year-old just turned 18 in January this year, 21st of January, his birthday. If you want to make a note, send him some presents and cards for next year. Sure, he'd be pleased about that. But this is the sort of present he wants, a checkered flag, catching up on some of the slower drivers, Ian Scruton and Keith Chapman, as we would expect in the slower A and B cars. I'm not sure whether they're going to be lapped in time, but certainly Aaron Trigwell will do his best to do that. He's going to take the win. So Trigg pretty much on his way out of Coppice Corner for the last time. Jason Cooper second place. Matt Foley hasn't been left, has he? He's still there. He's regrouped himself after that moment going into Goddard's, and he's still in third position. He's soaked up all the pressure that John Langridge has thrown at him over the last couple of laps, and just that one mistake costing him second place. But this is the race leader, started on the outside of the front row, so a second position in qualifying, got the lead after a superb start, and he makes his way out of the Melbourne hairpin, up the hill, down the other side, a very slight incline, down into Goddard's for the last time here. There is the 17 car of Keith Chapman, who at the moment is running down in 23rd position. And Trigwell comes out of the corner, and he'll see the checkered flag, moves across to acknowledge that, and takes his first win in the Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship. The 18-year-old from Braintree wins with championship leader Jason Cooper holding off Matt Foley to take second place. A round 5 win for Aaron Trigwell, with Jason Cooper taking second place and the fastest lap. Matt Foley in third, John Langridge fourth position ahead of Nick Bowers and David Abbott in sixth. Then it was Andrew Foley from Sean Clay, James Appleby ninth, Nick Pope 10th ahead of Kevin Sterling, and Paul Clackett in 12th place. Graham Field got the better of Dawn Boyd for 13th. Then it was Joanne Eason. David Elson wins his class ahead of Chris Tomazis and Nick Tiley. Class B going the way of Ken Bateman from Nick Barton, Michelle Edwards, Keith Chapman and Ian Scruton, who completes the finishing field.
Impressive start, that pretty much won you the race, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I got a brilliant start, and that just helped from there on. You know, the battle behind me was just brilliant. It allowed me to just get away and pull out a good lead.
Yeah, I know with the reverse grid for the second race, it's going to be a bit more battling for yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be quite tough. I mean, we've got some good competitors behind me.
Right, Jason, you started on pole, a bit of a mistake at the first corner. Is that what cost you the race?
Yeah, didn't have the best of starts. And I was second going into the first corner. I tried to make it all up in the first corner really, and just pushed too hard, lost the back end, and then about 4 or 5 cars come past, and that made my mornings work a bit harder.
Okay, David, Class A winner. How'd you find out though?
Yeah, it was great. I had a lot of grip. Yesterday qualifying went well for me, and had a really good start today, so that sort of put me in amongst the sort of the back running C's, which was a good place to sort of get through, and got a bit of a pull through from them. So yeah, it was a good race.
First race, Class B winner. How did it go?
Yeah, it was a really good, fun race. First part of the race was pretty straightforward because I made a reasonable lead, probably 5 or 6 seconds over my class competitors. Unfortunately, one of the STs then came off in front of me and cost me probably that 4 or 5 second lead, and then had a good dice with Nick Barton probably the last 7 laps. We swapped places probably 4 or 5 times, I'd imagine.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Race 2 for the Fiestas, and the reverse grid race sees John Langridge, who finished 4th in race number 1, take pole position. Langridge on pole, alongside him will be Matt Foley. On row 2, Jason Cooper with race winner Aaron Trigwell 4th. Nick Bowers lines up 5th with David Abbott next to him on the outside of row 3. Then it's Andrew Foley and Sean Clay, James Appleby and Nick Pope, Kevin Sterling with Paul Clackett in 12th place. 13th on the grid goes to Graham Field with Dawn Boyd next to him. Then it's Joanne Eason, David Elsom on pole for Class A, Chris Tomazis and Nick Tiley next up. Then it's Ken Bateman and Nick Barton, Michelle Edwards and Keith Chapman, Ian Scruton and Sagir Hussain lines up 24th. Next is Terry Scruton and Jodie Bocott with Ronaldo Stabressa at the back of the field. So Ronaldus, the German-based Dutch driver, at the back of the field, had a disqualification from race number 1. That's why he's off the back of the field, but it hasn't deterred him. And we'll see whether the reverse grid is going to deter the likes of Aaron Trigwell, who doesn't get away particularly well, but it's a good start from the outside of the front row. Once again, what Trigwell did in race 1 is achieved by Matt Foley, who gets away from John Langridge as they come down to Redgate. Jason Cooper looking at the inside, and look at that, David Abbott up into 5th place. A good start as well from 83, Andrew Foley. As going wide goes Aaron Trigwell. Trigwell goes wide. I think John Langridge has gone wide and left the door open for Jason Cooper. Yes, he has. It's the white front of Jason Cooper into 2nd position. But through in the lead, it's Matt Foley. There's Andrew Foley in 83, going wide at the old hairpin. Langridge going through. There's the man who won the first race of the day. And, well, he started in 4th position. He's a lot further back than that. Is Aaron Trigwell. He's going to have to do an awful lot of work to have a double win as Jason Cooper fires himself through on the inside. Fires probably the wrong word. That might have been appropriate in race number 1 on that move into Goddard's, but he places the car in the correct place and tries to come through. And again, a wild moment from the 82 car, Matt Foley, and through into lead position goes Jason Cooper. So Jason Cooper, 4 wins from 5 starts, really. The only chink in his armour, race number 1 today, but he's back in lead position and Matt Foley chasing him. Then it's Andrew Foley in 3rd place, John Langridge running in 4th position at the moment. Then Nick Bowers, followed by car number 96, that's Sean Clay running well in this one. And behind Sean, Aaron Trigwell, then David Abbott, Nick Pope. Field going through. This is the view from, you can see a very long runoff. Bear in mind this runoff was designed for the F1 cars going back in the 1980s. That's why the camera is so far back there. But up into Goddard's, it's Jason Cooper from Foley, Langridge, sounds like a firm of solicitors. Nick Bowers next up. Then it's Aaron Trigwell. Up across the line they go. 20 minutes of Dunlop Ford Fiesta action in prospect. The race weekend, I know we've told you this before, but there might be some first time viewers. Normally a 2-day meeting, the first day of any 2-day meeting, as we get a wild moment there for Andrew Foley, who goes a little bit wide. Sean Clay going wide too. Meeting format on day 1, normally the Saturday, is testing and qualifying, and then the 2 races on the Sunday, which is nice because you tend to get the bigger crowds in on the Sunday rather than on the qualifying day. So good for the drivers to be able to do that. Also gives them overnight to sort out the maladies between qualifying and race. The downside is, of course, if you have a bit of a ding in race number 1, not so much time to repair things. Down the inside, Aaron Trigwell dicing with Nick Pope. Looks down the inside of, Nick Bowers in the green car, and Trigwell out of the old hairpin, and I think has managed to get that one through. John Langridge still running in 3rd position. Andrew Foley is there, the Merthyr Tydfil based driver, mentioned in race 1. A really good geographic spread. I mean, that's the proof there. You've got drivers like Andrew Foley come from Merthyr Tydfil. You've got northern drivers like Ian Fletcher. Ian not with us this weekend. Graham Field from Southall, drivers from Cambridge, drivers from Kent. So James Appleby from Harrogate. We go on board with James now. So wherever you are in the country, there's probably a representative or someone you could support if you started watching the series with us here on Motors TV. So James Appleby having his first top 10 finish of the year in race number 1 and chasing Nick Pope. At the moment, Pope finished just behind James in the first race of the day in 10th position. Appleby, good clean driving style from the youngster, and someone to race with, as we said, everywhere down the field. It's the beauty of this championship. So it's Cooper, Foley, Langridge, Foley, then Trigwell. So we've lost David Abbott, dropped back just a wee bit at the moment. There is Nick Pope in 18. You'll see James Appleby, the guy we had the onboard with, just behind him. And then following them, it's Paul Clackett in the white and green number 8 car, and 2 or 3 cars down behind him we've got Jody Bocott, who I haven't had a chance to mention yet, but great to catch up for the first time with Jody at round 1 at Silverstone in the left-hand drive car. So interesting machine to look at, interesting to see how he's getting on, making really good progress as well. And let's go back down the order, and we had a quick look at the Class A's and B's, and a problem there for Chris Tomazis in car number 48. Pretty sure Chris had a roly-poly in the C's last year, if you think about it, so probably Donington maybe not his favourite place. Chris will get back on circuit and I'm sure try to take the battle to David Elsom, who took his 3rd win in the campaign last time out. The Cambridgeshire-based driver trying to win the Class A Championship. Class B Championship at the moment very much going the way of Nick Barton, who had a sort of Jason Cooper-esque race one by taking 2nd position after 4 wins in the championship. So we'll keep our eyes at how Nick's doing in this one, hoping to overcome the man who won the Class B honours in the previous race. That was Ken Bateman. So we had a momentary on board again with James Appleby, and John Langridge and company still enjoying their race, but Jason Cooper starting to get away. So this is what we've been used to seeing so far this year. Remember, ballast going on the top 3 drivers, 30 kilos on the 1st place driver, 20 on 2nd, and 10 kilos on the 3rd place driver. And Matt Foley goes off to a bit of rally crossing and will try and rejoin, but John Langridge into 2nd position. Matt Foley possibly a little bit race rusty. He's had a couple of errant moments today, not used to seeing that from him, and Andrew Foley coming up to challenge him. Then Aaron Trigwell, remember, carrying that extra ballast. He's not doing too bad in the WDE car, running at the moment in 5th position. Cooper there, the race leader. John Langridge in 2nd, then a gap back to this trio of cars contesting the last podium position, and through on the inside goes Andrew Foley, looks to try and make it up on the inside. Aaron Trigwell, this time without the luxury of clear track, certainly no shortage of racecraft in that car, and he tries to get through on the inside. You just got a really good view there of how if you just tuck it up on the inside you can lose a tad of momentum. That's exactly what happened there. Nick Bowers behind him, and it's David Abbott, and I think Nick Pope down behind him. Will get a full rundown on the positions as we move on with the race. Sean Clay involved there as well, another all blue car. Blue is the colour, I think, this year, to quote the very old Chelsea song. It seems to have been their year in terms of the European Cup. More's the pity, we hasten to say. But anyway, race leader Jason Cooper up towards Goddard's once again. John Langridge in 2nd position. 3rd place Matt Foley, 4th position Andrew Foley, and coming under pressure from Aaron Trigwell, dialing himself into this ballasted car. Nick Bowers down behind him as well. Bowers really looks the aggressor actually out of these 3. Looks quite handy at the moment. Virtually the length of the straight between the 1st and 10th cars, which is a fair old spread that we've got at the moment. Let's see what Aaron Trigwell can do, trying to get past Andrew Foley, line for line at the moment. Foley going slightly wider, Trigwell keeping it just that little bit more tidy. Championship positions as they came to Donington Park this weekend. Jason Cooper leading from Nick Bowers, and here comes Trigwell looking at the inside line again. Aaron Trigwell 5th in the championship, was Cooper from Bowers. Andy Wilmot not with us this weekend. John Langridge in 4th, then Trigwell. David Abbott in 6th place from Sean Clay, then Andrew Foley after some great results in his first meeting of the year at Snetterton last time out, albeit very wet. One thing he's proving here is that he can drive in the wet or the dry. As we look at 96, Sean Clay chasing David Abbott in the championship, chasing David Abbott in the race here as well. The silver car of the Silver Fox. So the race continues. Go back, quick look there. Dawn Boyd going through in the red 27 car. Andrew Taylor, of course, we're used to seeing in red. He's not with us this weekend, which is a shame. David Elsom in car number 40, leading the Class A cars. The cars, we normally see them out with the Class Bs in their own race, but in this particular instance they're not having that. So Elsom giving chase to, I think, Joanne Eason. Matt Foley still there in third position, 82 and 83, the Foley Motorsport team. And at the moment, Aaron Trigwell doesn't seem to be able to do anything about those. Nick Bowers down behind them. Then there's a bit of a gap before we see David Abbott. Nick Pope is there as well. Paul Clackett giving chase too. So down the pit straight into Redgate Corner we go once again. This race a lot more settled than race one, which is unusual when you think that we've had the reverse grid. So sometimes the thing that tends to upset the race has left this one just a little bit calmer. So down through the Craner curves we go. Probably a good chance to have a look at who's fastest lap. No surprises. Jason Cooper once again, a 1 minute 52.86. He's only actually 0.05 of a second quicker than he was in race one. So Jason Cooper, nothing if not consistent and fast. As we go back and see James Appleby, car number 27, ahead of Kevin Sterling. So can't see Sterling in his mirrors, but it is Kevin Sterling that's behind him.
Club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs.
Appleby driving very well at the moment. Could be on for another top 10 here. It's looking pretty handy at the moment, and it is actually in 10th position, so he'll be pretty pleased with that one. 9th position for him last time. Very consistent, as we said in race one. He's had results this year: 12th, 10th, 12th, 11th, and now 9th position. So top 10 again would underline a good improvement for James Appleby. Meanwhile, we go back up. There's John Langridge running in second position. And three wide as they come up towards Goddard's. Aaron Trigwell on the outside. Oh, the Foleys have taken each other out. Trigwell gets involved as well, turns in. Now is he going to be able to get past? Aaron Trigwell should have come through that the better to my mind, but has he picked up some damage because he's lost out? Well, Andrew and Matt Foley were all over each other going into the corner. That is going to be very disappointing for Aaron Trigwell. Remember, he's got the ballast on. So Andrew Foley drops down. Aaron Trigwell manages to get past him. Nick Bowers has gone past as well. Andrew Foley side by side with Aaron Trigwell as they come down. If he can hang on to the outside line, he'll grab the inside as they come into the old hairpin. It looks like good, clean, fair racing between them at the moment. Trigwell's through, makes up the position. Andrew Foley drops a place, but Triggers gets a wheel on the dirt, loses momentum. Look how much he's lost. That's how much you get punished for going off on the dirt. And when you look back, you'll see Andrew Foley coming through. But this is Matt Foley under pressure from Nick Bowers. So Nick Bowers in fourth place now. Nick Bowers into fourth position. It's Jason Cooper leading, John Langridge second, Matt Foley we're looking at in third place, Nick Bowers in fourth. It's opened up a little bit here for Nick Bowers. Surely he's done some hard work, but just sometimes you need things to fall your way. That's happened to Nick Bowers. He's going to be, I think, underlining second in the championship here, and he's all over the back of Matt Foley. Foley hanging on to that podium slot at the moment in car number 82. So down behind Bowers, it's Andrew Foley and Aaron Trigwell. They're all coming down into the hairpin. Through goes Bowers in fourth position. The top six pretty much clear of the other runners. We've got David Abbott running in seventh position at the moment. Then Nicholas Pope in seventh position, car number 18. So Matt Foley's starting to put the pressure on Aaron Trigwell. John Langridge well away in second position. Langridge lapping in the 1:53.5, consistently quicker than Matt and Andrew Foley. They're both in the 53.6s. So Andrew Foley trying to track down Nick Bowers at the moment. Aaron Trigwell on for some handy points as well. If he can hang on to this, it's going to be a win and a 5th position for him. So Nick Bowers, you can see, just getting a little bit defensive at the moment from Andrew Foley. And that's allowing Matt Foley to get away in 3rd position. So it's a 6th position, isn't it, actually, for the car that's coming into shot at the back at the moment. Aaron Trigwell, 1st and 6th. I guess he's not going to be too unhappy with that one. But Andrew Foley round the outside of Nick Bowers to take 4th place. What a brilliant manoeuvre that was, right the way round the outside. Well, you'd have to say the inside line is normally the way to go. What a fantastic overtake that was. Nick Bowers probably wasn't expecting that one, and now he's got race 1 winner Aaron Trigwell all over him as well. Down the Dunlop straight we go. So it's Cooper away in the distance, Langridge in 2nd position, Matt Foley 3rd, Andrew Foley 4th, then it's Nick Bowers from Aaron Trigwell, 7th position David Abbott, 8th position Nick Pope, then it's Paul Clackett and James Appleby. That rounds off the top 10. Down behind them Kevin Sterling and Sean Clay is still involved. Jodie Bocott running in 13th place ahead of Dawn Boyd. This is the view from the 10th place man, James Appleby, not in a position to make a challenge for anything at the moment. He might be driving on his mirrors a wee bit. I'm not sure whether Kevin Sterling is too close to him. Paul Clackett ahead. We go back. There is Graham Field, I think has had some problems. Jason Cooper coming up, just going out of shot, the race leader. Langridge still in 2nd place, in towards the closing stages of what has been 40 minutes of Fiesta racing. In terms of the other classes, David Elsom still leading Class A, Nick Barton leading Class B ahead of Ken Bateman at the moment. So both Nick Barton and Jason Cooper have restored the status quo, so to speak, in terms of what they feel would be their rightful position at the head of the field. Foley's though still pretty much at it, and Matt Foley in 2nd position, 3rd position, Andrew Foley in 4th position, then Nick Bowers under Starkey's Bridge. John Langridge in 2nd position, negotiates McLean's corner, he'll head down towards Coppice. Now the Foleys have effectively taken each other out just the once. And looks like we've lost Aaron Trigwell, doesn't it, from the mix? Aaron Trigwell not there anymore. Trigwell was running in 6th position, and I can't see him anywhere. So, there he is, some way back. So Trigwell, I think, may well have a problem. He's been passed by David Abbott. You just saw that at the back of shot. He's dropped away from the group. So Aaron Trigwell, that's going to be bitterly disappointing for the Essex youngster after a win in race number 1. We're very much into the closing stages. We're on the Melbourne Loop for the last time. Andrew Foley thinks about looking down the inside. Matt grabs the line off of him. All neat and tidy from this angle. Nick Bowers, of course, will be trying to get in amongst them and separate them. But it's Jason Cooper, lights ablaze, who crosses the line onto his last lap. There is Graham Field, the orange car. Graham Field is a lap down. Onto lap 10 for Jason Cooper, who's going to make it 5 wins out of 6. I've absolutely no doubt about that. He's been the 23-year-old having a superb season so far, really laid down the benchmark, and it doesn't matter whether he's got ballast on the car or not. He really is the driver to watch this year. After a frustrating season for him last year, I'm sure he'll be the first to admit that, but the resilience of the young man, he's come back and let his racecraft, his race results do the talking for him. So off into Schwantz Curve for the last time. Right-hander at McLean's, then it's the short run down to Coppice. This is the 4 times race winner in 2012 at work. Cool, calm and collected. Moves up a gear, coming into Coppice, into top gear now. Takes the apex, clear track ahead of him. Look at that, no back markers in sight. So all he's got to do effectively is drive the car home. Where is John Langridge in 2nd position? Langridge is about 9 seconds down on the last lap on the circuit timing. Language still there in second place. That's going to be his third second position of the year. A mighty good result for the Sussex-based driver, but he'll want to get some wins before long to add to that massive tally that he got in Class A last year. On board again with the race leader, championship leader, Jason Cooper. Into the hairpin for the last time, neat and tidy. Out to the outside of the circuit. Slight rising gradient, over to the right-hand side. He's going to get ready for Goddard's the last corner. Uses a bit of curb here. Down the gears, on the brakes, neat and tidy. This is where he did his lunge earlier in race one. That's all forgotten now, apart from us in the commentary position. And the checkered flag will be readied for him to take win number 5 of the 2012 season. Jason Cooper flashes his lights to acknowledge his pit crew. He is the winner, and there is John Language, 9 seconds down. But taking second position, it's going to be Matthew Foley coming through for third place. Nick Bowers is getting fourth position, just ahead of Andrew Foley, and David Abbott up into the top 6 again. The silver and blue car comes across the line ahead of Nick Pope. Paul Clackett at the back of that pack. Ninth position is James Appleby and Kevin Sterling in 10th. So Jason Cooper win and fastest lap. John Language second from Matt Foley. Nick Bowers in 4th ahead of Andrew Foley, and David Abbott in 6th place. 7th goes to Nick Pope from Paul Clackett. James Appleby in 9th ahead of Kevin Sterling. Sean Clay 11th from Jody Bocott. 13th place goes to Dawn Boyd ahead of Class A winner David Elsom. Then it's Sagir Hussain and Ronaldo Stabressa, Chris Tomazis and Ian Scruton. Nick Tiley next up from Class B winner Nick Barton. Ken Bateman is 21st from Michelle Edwards and Keith Chapman. Graham Field in 24th place.
Finished second in the last race. Because of that, he started on third here and won the race from there.
Yeah, I had a much better start than the first race. I was quite lucky at the first corner. Language had a bit of a moment. I managed to sneak through on the inside, and then I managed to get Matt on the first lap as well into McLean's. And then I was just pushing hard, getting a big gap to keep out of all the trouble like we had in the first race.
All right, David. Well, another win. Are you making it look easy?
Yeah, it's good fun out there actually. I'm really enjoying the circuit, and again I managed to get a good start which kept me up with the back marking C's, and just followed them round ready for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it is a quick little thing. In comparison to the other ones, what have you done to it?
I think Team Daniels have just set the car absolutely spot on. We had a few trials and I was trying a few different things, and I was absolutely bang on for what I wanted it to do really. I was under pressure. I saw Chris coming up in my mirrors and he was coming up a bit too quick. I think he had a slide. I didn't see it, but it just went from my rearview mirror. So guessing something happened to him, and it just sort of left me just to concentrate on what I was doing really.
Nick, winner of Class B, tell us about your weekend.
We've had a very traumatic weekend. My dad and Derek, the mechanic, have been working very hard to change the gearbox twice. I've also had 2 clutches, a couple of release bearings, so practice and qualifying did not go well. Race 2, I managed to get up to second, did get in the lead for a bit, but made a mistake and lost out. But then second race, got into the front and managed to drive off into the distance, so good end to a bad weekend.
Well, considering what's gone wrong, you've done very well.
Yeah, definitely best of a bad situation, so very happy with the results.